Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Sunday Night Live, your favorite automotive show where we talk about all things automotive. Whether it's the front of the house, the back of the house, or the middle of the house, doesn't really matter, because the better we get at what we all collectively do, the better the customer experience, and that's what brings people in. And it's always good that if somebody has a good experience at one store, that they then feel they're going to have a good experience at the next store, and the cycle just continues onward. So thanks for tuning in. This week, I have a special guest, Anthony Santangelo. Some of you may know him on LinkedIn or Facebook. Some may not. But Anthony is a recognized expert in his field. And Anthony, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Paul. Santangelo is the pronunciation on it. So, but thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about you for the folks that may not know you, and then we'll jump right into it.
Okay, real quick before we do, I don't see it on Facebook. I'm trying to share it out, and I don't see it on Facebook, Paul. It should be on your page, right?
Yeah, it shows live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And Mark Williamson just said hello from LinkedIn. You know, it's on my dealer vendor match page on Facebook.
What's it called? Dealer vendor match.
Dealer vendor match on Facebook.
I was looking at your personal page.
Oh, okay.
On it, so
it should be on there as well. But I post so much content that it may be somewhat down in the feed. I'm just tuning in here to make sure. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's fine.
There. So let's just give this a quick
share. It's on Facebook right here in the feed. Yep. I'm just tuning in here to me. Perfect. Mark, welcome, man. Says, hello, it's that time again. Yes, it is, my friend. It is Sunday Night Live time.
Yeah, we're going to just share this out real quick. So what was your question, Paul?
So tell us a little bit about you for the folks that might not know you.
A little bit about me. Well, once upon a time, I'm from Philadelphia originally. So like, not Will Smith, West Philadelphia, born and raised, but, a little bit west of West Philadelphia, born and raised in the suburbs of Philly. I call California kind of more home today, but I do have kind of live in both spots. I'm sitting in Pennsylvania tonight because I have a client in Delaware tomorrow. So I grew up 100% Italian guy, real big into sports. Wasn't always in the best shape, but I like to outwork people. That was my big thing. Was an average student, which is best of the worst, but always did my homework every night. Never went to college, never took SATs, never took a class, never enrolled, didn't do anything. Went into construction and failed, went into flea market sales and did okay, but flea markets you can't do year round. And my childhood friend, who I'm still very close with, his father assessed me to sell cars back in 1997, and I laughed at him. He said, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "Well," I said, "Pat, those guys are scumbags." And he said, "Well, if those guys are like that, how much better would you be?" And it kind of got my wheels turning. So back then, you didn't have electronic job postings and national sales recruiter and trainers. You circled ads in the Philadelphia Inquirer, and off I went and interviewed at least 12 dealerships. 11 passed on me until one gave me a chance. And I spent just over 19 years with Nissan, my last 9 years with Nissan and Subaru. Sold 3,486 cars in my career. I also managed as well. So I went into that. I was nationally ranked with Nissan and CSI my last 5 years, 99.8%. And in 2016, started feeling, just a lot of repeat customers and just, basically put tens all the time for me, which was nice, and I felt this tug on my heart in 2016. It was time to kind of start giving back. And I felt like needed to do more around my course. So I wanted to become a trainer, and 6 training companies passed to me because I never was a GM before. I didn't have a piece of a store. And Automax Recruiting and Training gave me a chance as an independent contractor, which is who I am. So I joined them January of 2017. So I'm now in my 6th year with them. back-to-back years National Sales Recruiter and Trainer of the Year awards I was given. I also was given a third award as well a couple weeks ago for breaking several records with Automax. It's been around November, will be 25 years. It's kind of interesting. The Automax started in November of 97. I started in the Corner Street in September of 97 on it. So now I kind of go from place to place and get into ventures and just try to leave everybody I meet better than I found them. So that's I guess the Reader's Digest of me.
Wow. When you live out of a suitcase. You have so many gigs that you train and recruit all over the country.
Yeah. I can do what I want. I don't have to work, but a lot of dealers reach out and I want to make an impact, so I go from place to place. I do. I have I sold my house in Pennsylvania a couple of years ago because I didn't see the value of keep paying taxes and association fee when I wasn't here a whole lot. So I did that. And my Pennsylvania home is where I'm sitting at tonight, the Hampton Inn in Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. That is my Pennsylvania home. I register my car here, my insurance. I have a P.O. box for my mail and everything. And then I have a place an hour south of Los Angeles near Laguna Beach, California. That's really what I call home today when I'm not in a client or campaign, if you will. That's where you'll find me most of the time, walking the beach, Laguna Beach, and, trying to just, have a good time out there, I guess.
Very interesting. We got Russell Hill. Good evening, gentlemen. And Tara Sullivan. Good evening, everyone. And Russell says, wow, incredible resume. And all the way from the West Coast, we have my friend Tully Williams. Hello, all. So, so before we go a little bit further, I want to tell a little funny story. What happened to me, the story I told you before. It's been kind of a whirlwind because I've lost 48 pounds and none of the clothes fit. So I had to, and NADA is coming up. We're going to be live streaming from the Driven IQ booth at NADA. But I've had so much stuff going on that, I didn't, as of 2 days ago, I had no airfare, no hotel reservations, no parking, none of that. I was able to get that taken care of. And then yesterday, I woke up at 4 a.m, fully charged, because I had to go out and get shoes. I had to get clothes. I had a full day. My day started at 4 a.m. and ended at 1 a.m. So by the time I got to bed, I was bushed. I just crashed out. But a funny thing happened. So I drove to the shoe distributor. They're about an hour and a half from my house. There's either one in Connecticut or one in Rhode Island. I've been to the one in Connecticut before. I believe in buying good shoes that last you a long time. So I went to the Alden distributor in Norwalk, Connecticut. Did great, got a bunch of shoes. And then I had to go cross state to Glastonbury to get some clothes. So as fortune would have it, since my body composition changed, I was able to find a couple of sport coats that I could get into that needed no alterations, which is a trick in itself because that's never happened to me before. And I was able to get some pants that also were hemmed already that needed no alterations. So I did great. And I bought a bunch of shirts, I think about 10 shirts, because none of the shirts fit anymore. So I put everything in the trunk of the car. And I figured, okay, I've got 2 more stops to make. So let me go have dinner at my stepson's restaurant. So there's never any parking. So I left the car by the clothing store and I walked around and I was about to walk into the restaurant when I noticed there was a space on the side that was open. So I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to go back, get my car, and I'm going to park it in this closer space. So that's what I did. Then I went into the restaurant. I'm a social guy, so I met this family sitting to the right of me, this couple sitting to the left, chatted with them. After about an hour and a half worth of dinner, it's time to go. Of course, I've been up since 4 a.m. and I've been driving all over the state. I totally blanked that I moved my car. So I walk over to where I thought my car was. And as I'm approaching the parking spot, I don't see my car there. I don't want to put too much into it, so I keep walking. Now I'm right in front of this parking space where my car was before. I forgot that I had moved it. Now panic sets in. So now I'm thinking my car's stolen. I'm not worried about the car being stolen, but I'm worried about all the clothes, the shoes, the pants, the sport coats, my man bag that I got in Ireland. All that stuff was gone. So I freaked out. I get out my phone, I dial 911, and I leave out the expletives. But I say to the cop, I said, my car's been stolen. Who steals a Subaru Legacy? That's the ultimate old man's car. It's crazy. So he says, don't worry, we'll find your car. And I'm thinking, oh, now I'm screwed because all my clothes are gone for NADA and there's not time to go get the other stuff. So I said, all right. I said to the cop, I'm going to walk back to the restaurant. So why not? He says, the officer will meet you there. So I'm walking back to the restaurant, and just before I go in, I look to the left again, and I see my car. First thing that pops in my head is, who moved my car? And then I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. If somebody's going to break into my car, they're not going to move my car. They're going to steal it and go. So at that point, I realized that, again, I've been up since 4 a.m, nonstop, go, go, go. I realized that I forgot that I had moved my car. So all embarrassed, I dial 911 again. I get the guy on the phone and said, I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you, but I found my car. So I'm real sorry. He said, don't worry about it. This happens. He says, as long as you got your car, he says, enjoy your trip. So that was the first time that ever happened in my life. So crazy, crazy story yesterday. Greg Dudley is in the house, says hi all. And Mark says, amazing accomplishments, Paul, 48 pounds. Congrats. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's very, very exciting. So now we all struggle with the same thing. I don't care what business you're in. We can't get help, right, Anthony?
Well, we can get help, but do you know where to find it? That's more the real question, and then can you retain it?
Right.
I think that's more, the issue. The help's there, but you got to be able to open your eyes and find it,
Most people can't find it because I talk to dealers, I talk to stores, I go into places and they tell me they can't find help. So you've got to have some kind of special sauce because you find help for people all the time.
Well, it's definitely not a special sauce. It might be a special gravy since I call the red stuff gravy. I don't call it sauce, but a lot of it's just how you position your ads, and it's being timely. A lot of dealers, no, not a lot, but some dealers think they can do it on their own. And you know what? I agree with them. I do. You definitely can do this on your own. You don't need me in Automax. You don't. But you have to do it the
Uh-oh. Your video is buffering.
What's that?
Your video is buffering. Your screen is frozen. Oh, you're back.
Am I back? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of doing it the right way. And the big key, when you're positioning ads and you're responding to it. If you have a customer that inquires online about a car, would you wait 2 days before you call them?
People do.
Right. But do you get their business? No. Same thing. You have somebody inquire about an employment opportunity. Do you wait 2 days before you call him or her?
Is that what you see out there? Is that?
I think a lot of it. What happens? Because imagine this as a dealer. You're working 3 deals at once. Another salesperson needs an appraisal. Behind him is one of the ladies in accounting looking for verification we put in the back end screen for a deal 2 days ago.
Right.
Behind her is one of the ASMs in service looking for a $1,500 okay for a used car safety check. Behind him, you see in the corner of your eye, your new salesperson you hired 6 weeks ago about to get swept. Your Dom is supposed to come in later and meet with you. The owner's texting you how many deals you have. And now your receptionist comes up to you and says, hey, Paul, that interview you set up a week ago, well, she's here. Now, what's your response? Ugh.
Oh
And
man.
all you want to do is have a Philly cheesesteak. Like you haven't finished with cheesesteak yet, you know? I mean, that's what happens. But no, what happens? You tell your receptionist, Brittany, you tell her, hey, Britt, all right, give Sally this application, have her fill it out. So you don't even go and greet her. So you have the receptionist getting paid $13.50 an hour to hand her not her job description, to hand her the application. Okay, no problem. And they smile back and they compliment each other's blouse or earrings, as ladies do. And then she sits down and she fills the application out in about 20, we'll say 14 minutes and 22 seconds. Now, when do you sit with her? 35 minutes and 22 seconds later. So now for 20 minutes, she's waiting and waiting and waiting. And now her wheel's turning. And then she looks around your showroom and she sees you have one female salesperson on the floor. So you have the receptionist, then you have one female salesperson, and then she hears laughing at the sales tower. And then she starts, her wheel starts turning backwards. I guess I don't have a chance at the job. And it could have nothing to do with her.
Right.
Nothing to do with her. But perception's reality. So now you go over there and you bring this with you. And now you're on the interview. Then your phone rings. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, Sally. Hold on one second. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I did with the bank to Wells. Absolutely. Yeah, the CIT meeting tomorrow at 10. Okay, let me finish the interview. All right, thanks. Sorry about that. And then you go back to the interview, and then 4 minutes later, ding, oh, Sally, I'm sorry. You know, and now you go on the interview. Now, are you 100% focused on her in the interview process? Or you think about that 22 other things you have to do because you're trying to make money and move the needle because you have cars to sell and money to make and you have pressure from above to profit, make money, which I get it. Because I'm not some guy in a fancy suit that can talk well that never sold cars. I did it for 19 years and I still have an active Pennsylvania sales license. I renew every 2 years and still work a car deal. So I'm not one of these guys that was sold cars for 2 years and became a trainer. That's not me. You know, and they do that. And now you go through the whole process of the interview, and it's like you wonder why she doesn't come aboard. But what if she does, Paul? What if she does come aboard? Even she wants this job so bad. She's a single mom of 3 kids. She's the only income because her ex-husband is in the arrears and child support, that bad guy. Okay. She's trying to hold together every day, not bawl her eyes out. And she's just trying to provide for her kids. But you don't know that about her because you haven't taken time to get to know her at all. And she's also holding back as well because she's scared. Trying to enter into a man's world, so to speak, as they say in the car industry, because only 10% is female salespeople, which is complete bullshit. Last year, I was 32% female hire. I'm proud of that. You know, so now she comes aboard, and now you're going through that, and it's like, okay, now you have her first day, and you get her with 6 Car Sam, Shadow 6 Car Sam, get your login for the certification, bring your laptop, bring headphones, and then you put her in a corner. And at the end of the day, she goes home and she, says to her mom or, if there's a significant other or a teenage child, how was the day, Mom? How was your day, honey? Whatever. You know what? You better keep that resume up on Indeed a little bit longer. I don't know if it's just the right fit. And that was her first day. And she ends up quitting 4 weeks later. But she didn't quit 4 weeks later. She quit in the first 7 hours of employment. And it's your fault.
You want to know something? You have described so many days that I have witnessed in the car business over decades. Wow. And it doesn't matter what the state is, what the store is. This plays out day in, day out across the country. It's crazy.
It is, and that's why you always say you have to show people you care about them more as a person than production. That's very important to do that. You got to show somebody you care about them, and it can't just be about money.
Right.
It can't. When I first started doing this just over 5 years ago, I came in to Automax with a lot of baggage. not necessarily baggage you're thinking of. I didn't have a credit problem. I didn't have a financial problem. Those things were fine. I came in with physical baggage of my weight. I was well over 320 something pounds. And I also came in with a lot of heavy baggage of the car industry kind of chewed me up and spit me out in 19 years of doing this, going through ownership changes. I was not a leader when I sold cars. I provided results. The owners and GMs loved me, but middle management hated me. Which part of that was my attitude, and part of it was jealousy. To be blunt, and I was not a team player either. It was bad, and I came through with that, and it was a struggle. And I kind of saw things very black and white, not race wise, just right and wrong. And I didn't see any gray area. And I would pass on people, and I would see this, and my ego was in the way. My ego, Paul, was through the roof. Nobody could tell me what to do. And it was bad, and I struggled. My first two campaigns doing this, I had 9 people in Great Neck, New York. I ended up with 2 people in my class. 7 walked out on me. And the following week, I was in Yorktown Heights, New York, about that New York deal. So I started out, and I had 2 people in class altogether that week. And I struggled. And, Ernie Kaspowitz, the minority owner, general manager of Automax, Joe Lockhart, operations director, minority owner of Automax, they weren't sold on me. They weren't. But, Craig Lockhart, he saw something in me. He did. And I wasn't a complete disaster, but I definitely was, I would say, an interesting character. And it was bad my first year. I definitely struggled. There was dealers that went behind my back and told Automax, I don't want him back because he's fat. There was conferences that wouldn't invite me to be speaking at because of my weight, and it was a struggle. But I started to make changes in my life, Paul. And in February of 2019, I learned how to love again. It did. And I started to accept responsibility. I lost weight. I've lost 40 something pounds myself. Still like to lose some more. And I started to really see the good in people, and started to really develop the gift of envisioning the finished product in someone, not the person in front of me, but envisioning the finished product. A perfect example of that is I was at a store in Tennessee last week. I've been there 8 or 9 times. I interviewed a guy in September of 2020 there. My first year doing this, I would have passed on him due to a couple different, we'll say, past transgressions. We'll leave it at that. But I saw something. Now it's September 2020. Now I'm in my 4th year doing this, and I saw it, Paul. I saw a guy that found the Lord, became a Christian, and I saw it, and I went to the GSM, went to Chauncey. I said, Chauncey, I want you to talk to this guy. And he's like, Aunt, but I said, I know, but I see it. And he looks at me. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And this is my 3rd time, 4th time there at that point. I've been there 8 or 9 times now.
Yeah.
Chauncey saw it too. Well, he's still there at the store, finished number 2 in sales last year, made $180,000 last year. And the number 1 person in sales made $254,000. He also came from me in Automax. And number 4 person is also from Automax, and he was only there 9 months and made 120. So I mean, it's you start to see things and you make changes, but you got to start just like in basketball, you got to work it from the inside out.
Yeah.
You can't just be chucking up, Steph Curry 3-pointers all the time, or in my case, for my Celtics, Jason Tatum, who had a great game today. You have to be able to, look in the inside. What can you change? Can you change your perspective? Can you make people a priority? I get you're chasing the almighty dollar, but you know what? Why don't you start chasing the almighty people and show them you care, and the dollars and cents will take care of itself. Simple as that. So I mean, but I started to make those changes in my life. I learned how to love again. I opened my heart, and yeah, it broke, but I don't regret it. I don't. And all of a sudden the phone started ringing, and again, the last 2 years I was honored They have not given a recruiter and trainer of the year award the first 3 years I was with Automax to anybody. If they did at 19, I would have, I think, earned that as well as their top trainer. The last 3 years, I've been the top trainer by far. And I'm grateful, but it's all because I took a look on the inside and started changing my attitude and my ego and my selfishness and my tunnel vision that I had, Paul, when it came to people. And I'm not talking about age, race, gender, culture. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about as far as what's on the piece of paper and if somebody has this or not. And I started to look past the person in front of me and envision the finished product. And then people that were making 80 grand a year in front of me, they're looking at interviewing, they've been able to get to the point where they trusted me. That guy, that top salesperson, made 254 last year, was making 80. And he said to me in the interview in March of 2020 when he got hired, Anthony, I'm making 80 grand a year. Why go backwards in income? I said, probably. Now what? I gave him the answer he did not expect to hear. He said, I want to come to your training class. I love you come to my training class. He didn't ever went backwards. He did it. But it starts that way. And I'm grateful. I'm not Mr. Popularity. There's a lot of people on social media. They're much more popular than me. You have your Lundys and Hayes and Danells and Lisa's and everybody. I'm just Anthony Santangelo, and that's good enough. Simple as that. Because the way I look at it is I had to go through my struggles because I meet a lot of broken people in this world across traveling the country. I wasn't born with some Ricky Schroeder silver spoon in my mouth. I was, just had less than $1,000 to my name when I started selling cars. No, I wasn't in the red. No, I didn't have bankruptcy. Okay. But I basically had nothing and I didn't own a car. I was borrowing an 87 Reliant from my church. That was what I was driving.
Plymouth Reliant.
Yeah. Plymouth Reliant. The K car. The K car. Yeah. And that's what I was borrowing for the first 2 months before I earned a demo. And it's like, I look back and I didn't understand why these things had to happen in my life. Why did my mom die when I was 17 years old? Why did I have to go through this? But now I see why. It's to impact lives. And sometimes it takes that everyday person that doesn't necessarily have a sad story. No, I wasn't arrested. No, I didn't have drug addiction. No, I wasn't abused. Okay, none of those things. But, I didn't have a good story either. But the bottom line is it's a real story. And there's only a certain percent of people on social media can actually testify to that they're real.
Holy shit, man. You are, look, I've met tens of thousands of people, and you and I, we've been connected for a long time, but it wasn't until recently when I reached out to you and we actually had our phone call that we spoke. And you are one of the most real people that I have ever encountered in my life. I want to get to a couple of comments and then we'll continue with that, but holy shit, man. Wow.
That's all I try to do, Paul. I said, listen, you don't have to like me, respect me. You don't have to hang out with me. I just want people to walk away, whether if they see me on camera or they meet me in person, because what you see in person is the same thing you see on camera. I just might curse more in person, but I'm the most real person you ever freaking met in your life. That's the only contest I want to win. That one right there. You don't have to take everything I say verbatim. If I can impact your life in one thing, awesome. Praise the Lord. Great. But the bottom line is I'm real. I don't blow smoke and this and that. I'll hold people accountable, hold myself accountable. And I just speak the truth. But I'm not politically correct all the time. I'm not talking about, not saying politics. I don't get involved in that nonsense. Right. I don't care. I'm more worried about who won the game, and my Celtics won today, by the way, so it's, but it's, but as far as just speaking my mind, with it. So I have no education other than the high school diploma. I have my graduates ask, I ask them every week that I have certain questions. I ask them how old I am, how tall I am, how much do I weigh? Did I go to college? Am I married? Do I have children? What kind of car do I drive? What's my favorite TV show? What's my favorite food? And I do that because I basically try to, show them not to judge a book by its cover is what I teach them. But 90% of my class says they think I went to college. And I go around and say, what'd you say? Yes. Why? Well, you're well-spoken, this and that. And when I tell them I never took a class, I didn't take a semester, I never enrolled, never took SATs in school, and I barely graduated high school. My graduating class was 6 people, and I graduated number 6 out of the 6 people. I went to a very small private Christian high school, these things I just learned the hard way through trial and tribulation. But again, I'm telling you right now, Paul, I wouldn't be where I'm at today as a vessel for Automax recruiting in the car industry if it wasn't for me learning how to love again just over 3 years ago. That is what changed my life. It did.
Kenny D stands for Kenneth Dunner Jr., my friend from Sugarland, Texas. As Paul Meijer, savor the flavor of the awesomeness in you, sir, for sharing your delectable thoughts with us tonight. You're too kind, Kenny. And Taylor Mowen, sorry if I mispronounced that, says, good evening, guys. And Shannon Wise, good evening, gentlemen. Paulette Meyer, that is my lovely bride, says gravy. Yeah, I have a friend, Salvatore Junio. He and I have for years had the gravy sauce argument over the years. And Kenny D says, Anthony Santangelo, gravy sounds so scrumptiously delicious, edibly tasty, good to me. And he also says, Paulette Meyer, of absolutely, I concur with you on this one. And he says, tonight's conversation is scrumptiously delicious, edibly tasty, good. I think he likes that phrase. Shannon says, hire the best, train them to continually be the best, retain the best, and you will make money. Lots and lots of money. And Perry Snyderman says, if you took the time to hire them, take the time to do it right. You know, it's interesting that most of the time in our business, it's always the other person's fault. It doesn't matter. It's always, this one. Well, what happened to this guy? Oh yeah, that was no good. What happened to that gal? Oh yeah, she had problems. And it's people generally don't do what you did, which is come at it from the inside and say, hey, what's wrong with me? And what do I need to do to look at things differently? You know, I'm a big believer in visualize the end product and then create the action steps to get there. If you have a good plan and a good vision, you should be able to put the steps together to make that plan a reality. But I'm not going to lie, very few people in our business do what you did. So my hat's off to you on that.
You know, real quick, Paul, Taylor Mowen's on here, and Taylor's one of my graduates, and I want to share her story real quick. I got Taylor hired as a client that's no longer a client of mine. I don't do business with them anymore. And they hired her, and they let her go after 7 days. She had a bad day. One bad day. Not 7. Wasn't every day. She had one bad day. And they cut her. So she called me, and we both cried it out together, her and I. And I said, what do you want to do, honey? And she said, I want to keep doing this. I said, well, let's make this happen. Let's prove them wrong. But I don't have any other stores in your area that I know it's hiring right now. I said, so why don't you take a look and see if you can find someone, give me as a reference, we'll help you get hired. And she did the work. She went home, talked to her wonderful wife. Her wife's been her rock and her support. And she went applied for a place, and that first place she applied, went to the interview, and the dealer didn't even call me. She got the job all by herself. Well, she's still there 2 years later, and last year finished number 2 in sales in the store. As the Toby Keith song says, how do you like me now? And I'm very proud of her. There's people that would have passed on Taylor for certain reasons with it. But all I see is a person full of love and grace. And that's all I care about. My ICE acronym: integrity, commitment, efficiency. And she defines that. She does. I'm proud of her, with it. And it's a wonderful thing. And she's had a great career now for herself and her wife, which is great. And she found a way through. And that's why I tell graduates, when they get passed on, don't give up. 11 dealers passed on me. Told me, sorry, kid, no experience, no job. What do you do this for? This is an older man's job. Why don't you go to college? Don't call us. We'll call you. Or the one that I love to hear on the interview process, we'll let you know. We'll let you know on an interview. It's just as bad as she's saying to you at the end of the first date, nice to meet you. She doesn't want to see you again. It's done. Like, she's not dating you again. There's no second date. You're done. You're done. We'll let you know on the interview. Just have the balls to tell the person you're not interested. Okay, because most people don't understand that will let you know means they're never going to call you back again.
Right.
Which is horrible. But this is what happens. And I heard that 11 times. 11 times I was passed on until Joe Bush, Devin Nissan gave me a chance. And it all started with the interview. And I'm going to talk about this. I have a speaking engagement in April. I'll release the details when I can, but it's going to be a speaking engagement in April. And I'm going to talk about how to master the interview. With that, it's not a promotion. It's not a ploy. It's not a pitch. It is just educational. My speaking engagement where I'm going to actually share and demonstrate part of my interview to the people that are there, type of thing. And for dealers and GMs, it's free to attend. So I'm actually going to show them what I do, so you can go ahead and imitate it, and you don't have to hire me at all. You can do it yourself. I'll actually show them my interview, with it. So, and talk about this. But I'm telling you, Terry Biaggi, his interview, the manager at Devin Nissan and Jeff Marcus, it was different than all these other interviews I had. I felt like they actually cared about me, and that's the whole key. I think today we get so caught up all the time in inferiority complexes and money and putting people down. And I talked about this in Sales Hustlers a couple of nights ago about disrespect in the car industry. Can the hazing stop? Can it? It's today people have the thinnest skin they've ever had today. And I had thin skin when I was 20 years old when I started in the car industry. Now it's a little different. The only way you really can offend me is if you question my work ethic or integrity. And then we got a problem. Other than that, there's people, former colleagues, they save my number in their phone as Fat Tangelo. It doesn't bother me. I laugh at it. My former colleague, John Shields, used to tell my customers who work together, Anthony never met a cheeseburger he didn't like. It was, I laugh at it, but a lot of people today, they can't handle that. And they might laugh on the outside, but they're hurting the inside. And you don't know what's going on. You don't know that single mom is having a hard time getting by. Okay. Her husband, they're getting divorced. Now she had to get a pay stub job to make a substantial income, and she's trying to hold it together, but she doesn't feel pretty anymore. She goes out of the shower and looks in the mirror and picks herself apart, and then she comes in at 9:15 because she put her son on the bus who's 6 years old and is trying to hold it together. And then what happens when she walks in? Good afternoon. Hey, part-time, what's happening?
Yeah.
And then you wonder why she doesn't fucking work out. It's just like, seriously, show people some love, show them some grace and some gratitude. I didn't learn gratitude until Danelle Delgado taught me that 4 years ago, but show people gratitude and love and understanding. I'm not saying not to hold them accountable. I'm not saying that.
No, that's totally different.
It's totally different. But guess what? That single mom on your sales floor, if you actually ask her how her kids are and actually care to know what the names of her children are and what's going on, she'll run through walls for you and be loyal to you forever. And she'll put up the numbers. And by the way, I think if she sells more cars, don't you make more money? Yeah, I think so. But now if you do it from the outside in and you're putting her down and saying, this is how it has to be. You got to be here at this time, this and that. And then you can't have that time off for your son's recital and your daughter's dance class and all that. Okay, then you wonder why you lose them. That's where you have to really grow and have some grace. Now, if people start to take advantage of that, you have to lay the hammer down. It's a different conversation.
Right.
But again, you got to work it from the inside out. If there's anything you take from this video tonight, LinkedIn Nation, Facebook Nation, YouTube Nation, wherever you're at, is learn to look on the inside and work it from the inside out. Get the ball in the paint to get to the rim. Stop chucking up the three-pointers. Don't live by the jump shot and die by the jump shot. Don't live by the up and die by the up. Work the appointments, and it's the same thing with your staff. Don't just slap some ad up there and think you can get technicians because you can't. Okay. And, well, I can't pay them that. Okay. Well, guess what? They're going to be turning wrenches and making hours up the street from your competition. So, you have to really go out of the box and understand where someone's coming from. A lot of times technicians, all they want to do is just actually be heard. They're
right.
stuck in the back and they feel like they're the redheaded stepchild. All they're doing is turning wrenches and they're supposed to be seen and not heard. Just talk to the guys and ladies, Same thing with salespeople too. I mean, that's what I try to do. That's why when I say I'm your sales trainer and mentor for life, it isn't some haughty thing. It's a fucking fact. I'm there for my graduates. I care about them. I do. They mean a lot to me. I mean, some of them look at me as a dad, and it means a lot to me. It does, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of Taylor, and I'm proud of all my graduates, and the growth that they have. And they're all at different levels, with it. And it's important that you keep encouraging them and supporting them because there's going to be days you'll get the trash cans of the tears and drop an F bomb. I've done them all, including the tears. I'm not too proud to admit it, but you got to have people to talk you off that ledge. That's important.
Wow. Kenny D says, Anthony, such a gem of a gentleman and being a friend of mine and to millions who shares his goodness for the betterment of humankind. And Shannon Y says, P.S. The best comes in many different forms. Look for qualities in people that show the capacity to be or become amazing. Yeah, visualize the end product. I love that. And Taylor says, one of the most genuine guys I've ever had the pleasure of meeting and to have him have a positive impact on my life. I mean, that's beautiful.
I'm very
Mark
proud of you.
Williamson says, wow, talk about unpacking. No shit, Mark. This is really, I mean, this is moving me. This episode is. Kenny D says, Mark Williamson, savor the flavor of the awesomeness in that. And Robert Sebastian, my Fake Stops brother, says, thank you for sharing, Anthony.
I'm here to keep it real. That's all. I mean, there's a sportscaster that's been in the Philadelphia market for over 4 years. His name is Howard Eskin. And people hate him and he might come across a certain way, but he always keeps it real. I love listening to Howard Eskin as a teenager, and obviously I don't really listen to him anymore because I'm not really in PA enough to hear him, but he keeps it real, and that's just kind of how I am. I just want to keep it real, on it. So Robert Sebastian, thank you so much for your support. Robert's always liking and commenting on my stuff. I appreciate it. Shannon Wise, another fan of mine. She says on here, I have rhino skin at this point and should probably own stock in moisturizer. He says, on it. So, I mean, it can be tough. It is. That's why you have to support system. We got to be able to support people. If you grow your store and have your retention, but you got to open your eyes to it. And if you're going to do it yourself, you better make it a top priority. Leave your phone out of the interview. Focus on him or her 100%. And also, here's another good tidbit. On every person's compensation plan, whether if you're a lotologist, service writer, tech, accounts payable, controller, GM, salesperson, BDC, whatever it may be, let them fill in something. Set aside, hey, what's important to you, really? Is it money? Is it time off? Is it college loan reimbursement? Is it bills? Maybe mommy and daddy weren't around in your life. Maybe you weren't taught how to pay your bills on time. A lot of kids don't know how to do that. They just don't. They don't know how to balance a checkbook. A goal every month, and we'll give you that goal. And now if it's money, okay, we'll get some extra money. If it's time off, okay. But it's a Saturday morning for my son's football game in the fall. That's okay. We'll see you at 12. Anthony, oh my God, you're saying take off on a Saturday morning? How dare you? Oh, yeah, it's 2022. It's not 1997 anymore.
Exactly.
Give somebody a little time. Give them a little bit of time. Again, I'll say it again. If they do take advantage, then you got to come down, on it. So
give and take.
Right, give and take. It's like Jerry Maguire, right? Help me to help you. Help me to help you. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So give them that time and have them not to worry about it. Be able to be there for that person. That I have a lot of regrets when I sold cars. And one of the regrets I had, number one, was bringing this to the dinner table for the two kids I raised that weren't biologically mine, that aren't in my life anymore. I'm a great multitasker. I'm very, very good at it. But teenage kids don't understand that. Leave your phone alone when you have dinner. Spend time with the people you love, before it's too late. In some cases, it's too late in my life, So make sure you have that time. And you know what? Don't chase that deal. If it's your day off, give up half the deal. Give it up. I missed a birthday party because of that. The freaking Subaru Baja used vehicle, and it's like stupid. Look back on it. I thought I could get it done in an hour. Nope. It's wrong. It's wrong. And that's why for me, I don't touch dishonest hours anymore. If I don't feel right about a client, then I remove them. Simple as that. I just won't get involved with it. I'll sit on my couch before I do that. I want to be with people that want to drink the Kool-Aid and trust the process. If you go on my Facebook timeline and you scroll down after this share and after my share with my 92-year-old grandmother this morning, I had the privilege and honor to take her to breakfast because I'm in my original home state of Pennsylvania today. So I picked her up at the retirement home, took her to breakfast. Right underneath that is a video of the GSM and I, my campaign last week. And he talks about trusting the process. He talks about it, not me, in the video and how it's produced results for his store. That's where it comes down to. Swallow the ego, trust the process with it. And again, if trusting the process is you doing it yourself, that's okay. Just here's the best practice. You put the ads up, make sure you position them the correct way. When that application comes in, you call them within 15 minutes. Because I couldn't do what I do, Paul, if it wasn't for Jane Schuster behind the scenes, my veteran catcher, who's an Automax employee of 16 years, who sets all my interview appointments up for me for sales. We've had over 250 applications for my campaign that starts tomorrow in Delaware. 250. Wow. Yeah. Now, not all 250 will show up for interviews over the next 3 days. But, as Jane likes to say, eat your Wheaties, you're going to be busy, she says to me. And I'm going to have a lot of interviews today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and I have to, decipher through them and everything. Well, why? Because she's on top of it. I tell her all the time, I could not do what I do if it wasn't for her behind the scenes. I couldn't. And it's the whole key. Like, they gave me those awards, but when I shared it on social media, I gave back to the people at Automax and gave them gratitude and love. I couldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for, Jane doing that. I couldn't be where I'm at from my dear friend, John Huey, another Automax trainer, my real trainer friend, who we have a great respect for each other. Different personalities, different demeanors, different cultures, same vision. John and I have. And we support each other. We do. I couldn't do it without the owners of Automax, Craig, Ernie, and Joe, being there. I drove Ernie up a wall my first year doing this, and I still do occasionally. But he had texted me something last week for my birthday that I'll keep between him and I, but it was special. And during that award dinner, it was in New Jersey. So Joe and Ernie are local. They live in Delaware and New Jersey. Craig's in Florida, and Craig FaceTimed in. And what he said was, and he'll be in the car business 50 years come June. Of the tens of thousands of decisions he ever made, one of the top 5 decisions was bringing me aboard his company. That put tears in my eyes when he said that to me. And I just don't want to let him down. I want to be grateful and give back. I couldn't do it. Our controller, she truly is the peanut butter and jelly that holds like the whole company together. She does a wonderful job. What she has and going on in her life and what she does and her loyalty is truly life-changing. She is the benchmark of what a controller should be for an organization. With it, yeah. So it's just, you have people, Jane's daughter, Mrs. Burke, as well. She does my max hire deals with me. For sales managers, service managers. We're doing an office manager campaign right now in Skokie, Illinois. If anyone's interested in being an office manager that's qualified with it, BDC manager, South Dakota. We have all kinds of stuff going, but we do it together. The techs and service writers I do myself, but the other positions I do. Mrs. Burke is my right-hand person. I bring her and we do it together, her and I. But I mean, so I might be on video, and you might maybe think, when you think Automax Recruiter, you might think me because of my social media status. But I'm telling you, it's a true synergy, and the total is greater than the sum of its individual parts. And we couldn't do this without us working together. We're a land of misfit toys, but somehow the results still come for our clients.
Wow. I want to get to a couple of comments. Jared Kalfas, if you're going to invest the money to create campaigns, recruit and hire folks, you must also commit to spend the money, resources, and time to onboard them and ensure they succeed. We're going to get to onboarding in just a moment here. Robert Allen Carvel, skin is like leather now, being in the automotive world for many years. That is very true. You have to have alligator skin or it will eat you alive. And Shannon Wise says, Robert Allen Carvel, I have rhino skin at this point and should probably own stock in moisturizer because of it. Robert Allen Carvel thought that was funny, as did I. And she says, Robert Allen Carvel, I have rhino skin. Oh, it came out twice. Sorry about that. And Robert says, all about communication. The funny thing is, communication is at the root, I believe, of every problem in life. It boils down to communication or a serious lack thereof. And Kenny D says, Robert Allen Carvel, my skin is like leather by not caring what others think of me. I care about what I think about me. Savor the flavor of the awesomeness in that. And Reginald James, find everyone's personal currency. It makes all the difference. And Robert says, Stellantis is the only manufacturer I know that provides college dealers and their staff and their family a real attention getter when hiring. I've never, in decades in the business, seen what you suggest, for them to add one line as to what's important to them. I've never seen that.
Yeah, you got to figure out what motivates somebody, Paul.
Right.
And here's the thing. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably about 50% of employees in the car industry today are motivated by money. Now, when I started in the business almost 25 years ago, it probably was like 90%. It's not all about money. It's about culture. It's about time off.
Respect.
Respect. And that's a big one. I had a salesperson ask me to call her on Friday. And I called her, and she's working for a client, a dealer that's not a client, of mine. But the disrespect she's going through is bad.
And there's no need for that.
Yeah, there's just no need. It's just she's a single mom with 4 kids. I mean, come on. It's just like, have some respect for people. But again, hold people accountable, fine. But stop sitting there just belittling people. Stop sitting there and screaming at the desk. When you're working a deal, I mean, it's just, you got to find a way to, Mohammed Laraki's my favorite manager ever. And he runs Conquerville Subaru, which is literally 0.2 of a mile from where I'm sitting at right now. And I didn't meet Mo until I was 10 years in the business. Haughty, arrogant, cocky, high-minded. Yeah, making 6 figures a year, but I was a selfish prick. I just was. But Mohammed showed me how to manage everybody differently. And I drank the Kool-Aid when it came to Mo with it. He has people on his sales floor that, in my opinion, would be $40,000 a year salespeople, maybe not in the car business, that are making $90,000, $110,000 a year. Why? Because he gets the best out of them. Because he knows how to manage everybody differently. And he makes sure that the culture is good there. He has multiple women on the sales floor, multiple ethnicities, and obviously Mo himself, he's from Morocco. He speaks Arabic, French, and English all fluently, sometimes all in the same sentence. Everybody is bati, papi, or papu. That's what Mo is, but he knows how to manage everybody great. That's so key. That is on itself. I think you want to talk about onboarding. You said too, Paul, right?
Onboarding, that's key, because that's There are stores that do it, but there's also a lot that don't. It's, as you said, shadow the 6-car guy and good luck.
Right. Yeah. What do you want to ask me about onboarding?
Walk me through a successful onboarding on a sales floor.
The first thing with onboarding is this. I'm going to ask this question. If you have a customer come in and they say they want to buy the car, do you say to them, hey, Mr. Customer, Miss Customer, let's set up a second appointment 2 days from now, and we'll kind of reevaluate from there and make sure that you actually want to buy the car at that point? Do you tell a customer that they want to buy a car?
Nobody does.
No. Now, will you tell a customer, Paul, they say I want to buy the car? Great, Mr. Customer, Miss Customer. Let's set up delivery 3 to 5 business days from now, 7 to 10 business days from now. I'm not sure which one it is. I have to go check with HR first to see if we can deliver the car 3 to 5 business days from now or 7 to 10 business days from now. But let's set it up then. Do you do that, or do you spot the fucking car?
My good friend Leon Joni, if you don't spot him, you don't got him.
I was just about to say that. So Leon, you came from the same cloth I did, dude. If you don't spot them, you don't got them. It's the same thing with your employees. If you don't spot your employees, you don't got them. It's simple as that. You got to be on top of it. You bring someone aboard. Okay, I get it. Driver's license check, criminal background. Some stores still do drug testing. Okay, I get it.
But only the first time, because they don't dare do it again because they can't afford to lose the employees. Tell me that's not true.
In some cases, yes. I mean, like, thank God New York doesn't test for weed, because if it did, there probably wouldn't be any employees, in New York. So it's and I literally, when I screen from New York, I'm like, and they drug test, but they don't test for weed. I'm like, if I sent you now, not including weed, can you pass drug test? Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. I'll never understand it, because I've never even smoked a cigarette, none of the drug in my life. Never even smoked a joint. I don't understand it. But people are like that or whatever. But when it comes to that, okay, you're going through, is it the end of the world, dealers, that if you hire someone to bring them aboard, before they do this, have them go on your first day? Now, if they lied to you about their background or their driver's license or their drug tests, at that point, dismiss them. But bring them aboard. Because if you set that stage and you say, Paul, listen, congratulations. I'm going to hire you here for Conquerville Nissan Subaru in Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. Here is our next step. You said you can start right away, right? Absolutely right. I want to be at 9 o'clock tomorrow and report to Mohammed Laraki, general manager, and Khalid, his general sales manager. I want you to go and meet with them, all right? And now, obviously, we're going to end up having you do your background and your drug test and your driver's license check. Now, if for some reason you weren't forthwith with us and something comes back, then we're going to dismiss you, to be upfront. But I want you to start tomorrow. Are you telling me the truth? Is there anything that you're not telling me? Well, okay. So guess what? Now you can come to Jesus at that point, and if
make a decision.
Right. Or if they answer you yes, but they're looking to the right, they're lying. Okay. There's a little poker read for you. Okay. I'm a poker player. All right. So everything. Or if they look down, now so now you can move on from them at that point. Okay. Or if they say yes, great. Now, if they still are a bold-faced liar, okay, or they forgot some speeding ticket they didn't pay 4 years ago, and all of a sudden their license was suspended and it was a shock to them, okay, at least these things, you can move on, but you bring them aboard. Versus, let's check with HR and have HR that's getting paid salary and by the hour dictate to you when they're allowed to start. Why? Why would you do that? Like, bring them aboard. Now, I get if you don't want them driving the cars, their driver's license comes back. Okay. That's okay. You can still bring them aboard and still start the paperwork process and get them logged into the system to get certified. You still get them aboard. And now, when you do that and you do get them aboard, here's another great best practice. GSM or higher. Not a manager, not F&I. GSM or higher. At the end of the first day, I don't care what day it is, take a TO with your employee. Pull them in the office. Hey, Paul, It's 5 o'clock. I know we're letting you leave at 5 today, your first day and everything. But before you leave, I just want to talk to you. Oh, sure, no problem, Anthony. Paul, how was your first day? Oh, boss, it was so great and wonderful. Okay, stop with the bullshit. Talk to me like you know me. You're not going to get fired. Tell me exactly how you really felt today. Tell me the truth. I want to grow. I want to learn. Don't worry about titles because here's the thing. I can't be a successful GSM, GM, or owner without you being successful. So just tell me the truth. Talk to me. Well, Anthony, I kind of saw this earlier today and I kind of felt like I was abandoned a little bit. I'm so sorry to hear that. How can I repair this tomorrow? Please come back tomorrow. I'm going to take care of this myself for you. Now, I get it. GSMs and GMs and owners thinking, Anthony, I can't do that. I'm too busy. Yeah, I know, but then you wonder why you lose people, huh? So you're really too busy to take 5 minutes and show someone some love and learn how to love again? Do I learn how to love again just over 3 years ago? You have to be able to do that for somebody because then when they get home and they're like, honey, how's your day? It was really a tough day at first. And I was thinking maybe I'll put that resume back up on Indeed and ZipRecruiter. But now all of a sudden, like my big boss, the owner, like Pete and Chuck and Mo and Stuart, they actually like came and talked to me at the end of the day and wanted my feedback. And I was going to blow smoke up their ass, but they held me accountable. And I actually told them that they didn't fire me. And they actually really care about me. Or bring them aboard on a Saturday morning and introduce them in the Saturday morning meeting and have them all cheer and clap for them. And then if you want to cut them out at 10 because it's a Saturday, okay, just have them come in for the meeting or whatever, get a couple things done. Make them feel good about themselves.
Right out of the gate.
That's the key. That's the biggest thing I think my graduates would say about me is I want to make them feel good about themselves. They can do this. And that they can do it. And if a dealer makes a mistake and passes on them, or in the case of Taylor getting fired 7 days in, whatever it may be, I want to be able to show them that, yes, they can do this. Because, again, 11 stores passed on me and 6 training companies passed on me. And I guarantee you those 6 different training companies are watching this on LinkedIn on the replay because they follow me. It's just one of those things where you start to, I guess, try to prove a point that you can do it. Light that fire. But you got to have your support system. And I wouldn't be where I'm at without my inner circle, the people that, my teammates from Automax, my inner circle people like Michelle McLean, people like my childhood friend, Jameson Glennon, who's not on social media, but he's my good friend. And his father, I owe his father my career because he suggested me to sell cars. That's, the people like that in my life, my protege, my goddaughter, I love so much. Parker Juliana Abamar. I spent some time with her yesterday. She'll be 2 years old in May. And her brother Dominic, her other brother Jace. You have to have those people in your life. You just do. My grandma, 92 years old. Big shout out to grandma. She actually knows who Snoop Dogg is, believe it or not, at 92 years old. And it's so, but yeah. So, but that's. Yeah.
Mark Williamson says, preaching truth tonight, no joke. And Reginald James, when an organization gets that about finding everyone's personal currency, success becomes the culture, not the expectation. Ponder that for a moment. It becomes.
Who said that? Who said that?
Reginald James.
Reginald James. You're a good man, Reginald James. I don't know you, but like that's some good shit right there, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah. He says and I'll repeat it. Ponder that for a moment. It becomes the culture, not the expectation. And my wife laughed. I don't know why it's taken us this many years to get connected because, wow, you're an incredible person. Let me just get to a couple more here. Robert Allen Carvel says most sales staff would be gone. LOL. I think he's going back to the drug test thing.
Yeah.
And Kennedy is originally from Harlem, New York City, now living in Sugar Land, Texas, just southwest of Houston. And Paulette says company culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Mrs. M is good there. Company culture, that's the key. You got to have the right culture because when you have the right culture and the right teamwork, then success comes. It definitely does. But if you don't have the right culture, you might see success, but you're gonna have a revolving door, and at some point, it's gonna catch up with you. No matter how much of a powerhouse, how much ego you think you are, guess what? If you don't have the right culture, eventually you're gonna end up having a problem. You got that homegrown talent. You got to draft and get the right people and hold on to them.
I learned a long time ago in the customer service business that there's only one job that we need to do to retain customers and earn their business. And that's treat them like gold, regardless of what they've come in for, whether it's a $30 job or a $3,000 job. They should all be made to feel the same. And when there's so many stores that chase this number or that number, or it has to fit into that particular chart. No, all we need to do is treat the customer like gold, and everything else will fall into place, because once you've earned their trust, they will come back to you for everything. You don't have to worry about missing this tire sale or that brake sale. No, because when they need it, they will come back to you. And you, my friend, have that same exact philosophy as it relates to the employee is the dealer or the company's customer. Mm-hmm. Paulette just put that. She just put that. Wow, we think alike. She says, your employees are your customers. And Steve DiFilippo says, internal clients as opposed to external clients. When you make them the priority, just like with the customer, everything else comes together, because you've started from the right vantage point, and you've cultivated a culture and a store where people are invested not only in their success, but in your success and your company's success. So, wow, you have shared some powerhouse shit here, man.
I think also it's important, Paul, when you're investing that way, you got to make sure that you own your mistakes. And I want to tell you about a mistake I made last week. I interviewed a guy on Monday, and I decided I made my selection. I did not select to invite him to my training class on Thursday. And I'm upstairs teaching, and Jill, the receptionist, who's an amazing receptionist at the dealership I was at last week outside Nashville, texted me, "Hey, Aunt, there's a guy here to see you." I said to my class, "Class, there's someone downstairs to see me, but I'm not expecting anybody. Excuse me, I just want to see what's going on." Well, it was that applicant from Monday. I was like, "Hey," he said, "Can I talk to you?" I said, "Sure." So he came in, and he said, "You obviously didn't call me and select me to come to your training because you're teaching upstairs. I want to know why." I never had an applicant ever come back to me the day of training and put me on the spot. I said, "Well, I felt like you weren't committed." He said, "You're wrong, Anthony." And I'm looking at him. And he came in jeans and sneakers. He came in to address me on Thursday. And I said, "How far away do you live?" He said, 20 minutes. I said, "Can you go home, put a dress shirt on, dress pants and dress shoes, call back in, because for you to say that to me, I was wrong in not inviting you. Will you please come to my class?" He said, "Absolutely." I said, "Good, go get changed, because I can't have you in my class in jeans and sneakers. Obviously, everyone's all dressed up upstairs. But come on, and we'll get you hired today." When he came back in the class, I announced the class who he was, and I told the class how I made a mistake and didn't invite him to my training class, and I was wrong. And he had the guts to come in and do that, and got him hired. So when you make a mistake, make sure you own your shit too. I made a mistake last week. I should have, and I almost invited him. It was on the cusp, and just there was two reasons why I didn't invite him. I'm not going to reveal why on camera, but I just felt like that he just missed the cut. But I'm happy he came back with it, and he texted me after class and was thankful. And I sent him a voice text back. I said, "Buddy, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for putting me on the carpet." I said, "I'm sorry I made a mistake, but thank you for your grace and put me on the carpet about it." So it goes both ways. You think that guy's going to end up, going further in the car industry? Probably. I think he'll be there. now. Next time I go to that store, because I didn't get my ego up, I apologized. I took responsibility. That's what a true leader does, but I couldn't do that when I sold cars, but I learned it as a trainer.
Well, it's never too late to develop, into the person that you want to be.
Yeah. That's the key. And grow,
Wow.
grow, and just make a difference in the lives of others. Leave everybody meet better than how you found them. And look for reasons to hire versus reason not to. And for God's sake, just give people a chance. I know how it feels in my life not be given a chance professionally and also personally, and it hurts. And some of those scars will be there forever. Don't do that to other people. Give them a chance. That's why my hashtag for 2022 is just say yes, 2022. And of course, my main hashtag to the day I die will be go all in. So.
Anthony, I can't thank you enough for coming on here tonight, man. This has been truly wonderful for me because I learned a lot about you tonight. And wow. And I know our audience got a lot out of it. And I know the people that are going to watch it on the replay got a lot out of it. So thank you. Thanks
for the opportunity. I'm really grateful. I'm used to doing the interviewing, not being the interviewee. So it was nice to actually be interviewed tonight versus me asking the questions, So
I just want to get to a couple of final comments before we wind down the show. Robert Allen Carvel says, very good philosophy to live by, Anthony. And Mark Williamson says, total fire tonight. Been doing a lot of this at the dealership for the past 22 years and have enjoyed less than 10% employee turnover. Wow.
Good stuff, Mark.
Fantastic show tonight. So thanks again to everybody that tunes in every week. Thanks to the people that watch it on the replay. Don't forget, we have NADA coming up. That's happening this week. And let me just go to the screen here. We're going to be at the Driven IQ booth number 6943. Send me a message if you're going to be there and you'd like to connect. Just message me through LinkedIn Messenger, and you can message myself or Albert Thompson if you want to be on our 10-minute power interviews. So looking forward to seeing some old friends and connecting with new ones at NADA. As always, thank you everybody for your time, and have a successful next week. And see you next week on Sunday Night Live. Oh, wait a minute. Next week we'll do Sunday Night Live from NADA, from the road. That'll be interesting.
That's awesome.
All right. See you next week. Thanks again, Anthony.
Thank you. Take care.